It is Tuesday, the 16th day of April 2024. Hello there and welcome to News Tonight here on UBC TV. First though, let's have a look at our top stories. Our top stories tonight. President Museveni and Ramaphosa of South Africa hold talks aimed at strengthening ties between the two countries. Traders start a nationwide business shutdown protesting URA's IFRS tax system. Economist Professor Fred Muhumza sports out the nationwide business shutdown as an eye-opener. And in sports, Tusker Light Mount Rwenzori Marathon gates World Athletics certification. Hello there and welcome once again. We are coming to you live online and on air from Broadcast House here on Nile Avenue. On sign language, it is Elizabeth Nakakoni and I am Rukidi Edward Kijanangoma. Now, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has held talks with President Yoweri Museveni of Uganda at State House Entebbe. President Ramaphosa, who is in Uganda on a working visit aimed at fortifying bilateral relations between the two nations, was accompanied by South Africa's Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Dr. Naledi Pandor, and Minister in the Presidency, Kumdudzo Nsamveni. The leaders engaged in discussions on key issues impacting Uganda, South Africa, and the broader African continent. During the deliberations, President Ramaphosa and President Museveni exchanged views on bilateral relations, regional dynamics, and continental affairs with a shared focus on promoting peace, stability, and economic development across Africa. The leaders reaffirmed their commitment to working together in pursuit of sustainable peace and prosperity, highlighting the importance of cooperation in addressing common challenges. Of particular significance was the discussion on the peace and security situation in the region, where both leaders underscored the need for concerted efforts to ensure stability and mitigate conflicts. They pledged to collaborate closely on security matters, leveraging their respective strengths to contribute to a safer and more secure environment in the region. President Ramaphosa expressed sincere gratitude to President Yoweri Museveni for the warm reception and hospitality extended during the visit, emphasizing the importance of such engagements in strengthening the bonds of friendship between South Africa and Uganda. On his part, President Museveni welcomed the opportunity to deepen cooperation with South Africa and reaffirmed Uganda's commitment to fostering closer ties with its African partners. To other news now, and Kampala's central business district seemed in lockdown with no business as traders from various sectors shut down operations, protesting what they call an unfair tax administration measures and trading conditions. Unlike the partial closures observed on April 8, 2024, the shutdown encompasses the entire country, with only a handful of individuals stationed at the entrances of some selected shops. Now, yesterday, the traders' umbrella body, Kasita, declared a sit-down strike protesting URA tax system.
Uganda serves as a hub for business among neighboring countries like Tanzania, Rwanda, and Kenya. But it seems the traders' strike will affect business. This is Jack, a Chinese national operating a brake factory. He arrived in the country on April 11th for business, but he says the business situation presents a negative image to foreigners.
Give you very bad memory. That means if some people come from far away, come here. Even for me, you know. So that means now I still have 2 days I should leave. And I have many paperwork, and today I need to meet the dealers and to discuss the business. So if tomorrow is still closed, and after tomorrow is closed, so how the business going on?
With only 2 days left for Jack to leave the country, he claims significant losses due to the ongoing strike and urges the government to respond to the crisis.
So even you ask the high tax, sure, the price will going up and up, up and up. But here, the people getting the very low salary. So that means how they can support their life.
Today, traders started a nationwide sit-down strike. They have closed down shops protesting the electronic physical receipting and invoicing solution, IFRIS system. They demand Uganda Revenue Authority to reverse the system before reopening shops for business.
Naye anze nebaliza abasuubuzi kye bakoze kubanga agali amuge galumenyama kino kye bakoze n'oluddako tukole kyennyini kino kubanga omusolo gwe batujjako tegulina kye guyamba. Omusolo abinnya bijjudde mu kibuga ekitegeeza ffenna tunanga tukwasiza wamu embeera ejja kyuka ate teri kupowa.
Starting early morning, there are security deployment of military, police, and the UPDF together with the ununiformed security. They are alert and respond to every eventuality. Doreen Achiria represents many other business owners in downtown Kampala. She calls upon President Yoweri Museveni to intervene.
Excellency, I implore you to prioritize the well-being of the individuals of Uganda and the business community. Because remember, high taxes not only discourage your consumer spending, but also investment. If you look at the shops here, most of them have gone empty because local investors have disappeared because of this double taxation. So we request you, because you're the only person right now who can help us.
In the city center, there was no business. Shops were closed and traders either sat around or were standing in groups. They want their concerns addressed.
Eggwanga mbwa mwagali tabanguka elijja kutabanguka no singako wano. Omusolo gutuyinze. Emirimu tetukyayina.
Meanwhile, the traders are against the IFRIS system, citing that many traders are unaware of it.
Still pre-industrial. Most people are illiterate. They have cartouche systems. They don't have money to buy the IFRIS. So with the economy being down after COVID, I don't think that's the right system, the right time to introduce the IFRIS system.
So far, there are engagements between traders, leaders, and ministries of finance in Kampala, planning for a meeting with the president over the IFRIS system and the traders' flight.
People started also to closing the shops because there is no answer to His Excellency. But I think now they have called us the real meeting on Friday. I think we shall meet him.
The traders claim the sit-down strike will continue until the demands are met. So far, it is peaceful. Justin Nakami, UBC News.
We'll remain with the standoff momentarily, where the standoff between Kampala traders and Uganda Revenue Authority has reached fever pitch Tuesday with a request to meet President Yoweri Museveni to resolve their tax payment-related issues. Now, the traders claim that heavy taxes and the e-receipt fiscal receipting system, IFRIS, plus the 18% tax increase is not fair to them.
The standoff between traders and the tax body has been escalated with a number of shops around Kampala under key and lock. Many traders were sighted standing outside their shops. The concerns are still the same. The e-receipt system, increasing the VAT taxes to 18%, and the fiscal receipting system, IFRIS, should be looked at by the authorities.
Nenge ensonga eggaziza amaduuka ya e-receipt tetugitegeera ffe ng'abasuubuzi. Tufuna ssente entono, ebizimbe bya bbeeyi, naye abantu bo waggulu abo tebakitegeera.
Officials requesting them to answer our questions. They have refused to answer our questions, but I'm requesting them, humble request. This is a humble request to all government officials which are concerned to issues of the traders, that please come and answer the question that we...
Lunaku olwaleero ebizimbe nga bwe mubiraba byaggaddwawo, abantu tuli mu kwekalakaasa lwa misolo gye batuteekako. Tebatunyonnyola, simanyi ifirizi, abantu ba wansi tetubimanyi ebyo. Tetumanyi, simanyi ifirizi, tumanyi genda ku dduuka n'ogula ne bakuwa lisiiti yo n'ogenda n'okola.
The military and police have been deployed along city streets and suburbs to ensure peace and stability as the standoff continues. The traders' leaders explain that they have been engaging the tax body and the Ministry of Finance to no avail and now want to meet President Yoweri Museveni to have their tax grievance resolved.
So we are expecting positive response about the IFRIs, about the high taxes, import duty, values, enforcement, and what have you. So let us wait on Friday when we shall be having a meeting with His Excellency.
That system, Uchumi, it went away. Nakumat, it went away. ShopRite, it went away. Kampala Cement and the other companies, you can see them going away because this system, nobody can use it, and the business remains. Business of Uganda, it is just, we are just
Uganda Revenue Authority, meanwhile, believes the ongoing sensitization of traders is the way to go. Mary Namkose, Joseph Moyingo, UBC News.
Now, the Minister of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives has engaged traders on the ongoing controversial implementation of the new taxation system dubbed IFRIS. The Minister of State for Trade, Industry, David Bahati, reveals that the engagement has advanced solutions and the update will be presented to Parliament. The Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, asked Minister Bahati to present the progress report on Wednesday. IFRIS is a new taxation model which the Uganda Revenue Authority introduced to manage the revenue collection through embracing digital technology. We have more in this story.
The traders under the umbrella Kampala City Traders Association has put government on pressure after the widespread accusations that the new digital tax model has caused more harm than good. Last week, traders petitioned Parliament through the Leader of Opposition, Joel Senyonyi.
We think that the government misfired on this because it could enable Umusoke bring like 10 containers, but now we fetch it even with 1 container.
The traders cite double taxation under the electronic fiscal invoicing and receipting solution, which has forced some clients to trade from the neighboring countries.
That our customers who used to come from Rwanda, some by even Kenya, some from Congo and South Sudan, have totally diverted and almost we have donated the market to Kenya.
Parliament asks that the dual committee of Parliament, including Finance and Trade, looks into the matter by engaging the traders and the Uganda Revenue Authority on a way forward. During the Tuesday morning plenary session, the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, resurrected the matter after the traders threatened to strike by asking that the shops be closed until government pronounces itself on the matter.
In the same vein, we reiterate our earlier recommendation for the dialogue to amicably resolve any of the sticky issues that are being raised, because it has gone beyond the electronic invoicing.
Speaker Anita Among avers that the traders are ignorant of the amount of tax to be paid in case the IFRIS model is to succeed.
There is a lot of uncertainty on how much tax is being paid, because these people are saying they don't even know how much tax they are supposed to pay. We pass bills here, we are now going to pass again another tax bills. We pass these bills, people don't get to know how much tax they are paying and how it should be paid.
The State Minister for Trade, Industry, David Bahati, informed the House of a progressive meeting between government and the traders. The Speaker asked Minister Bahati to address Parliament on Wednesday.
As government, we are engaged now with the traders. As I speak, we are meeting the Honorable Mwebesa and Honorable Badi, are meeting with Honorable Kasaija and other leaders of the traders to come up with a solution to the issues being raised.
But some MPs tipped government on the way forward.
Madam Speaker, my prayer, and I'm seeking from the Minister, what do you lose if you fast forward this system? A petition is brought, you got the Committee of Parliament, we see where the challenges are, and these people start working. But they will not continue working unless the tax system collection is still on. That's their major challenge. They are saying it's oppressing them.
You must tell us, because you might come back here and you tell us we will resolve this next week. If you inform us the impact of everyday closure, what is the cost in terms of tax collection, what is the cost in terms of doing business in the country? Then lastly, Right Honourable Speaker, this would be the time where we would be seeing ministers, especially the Minister of Finance, Minister of Trade, sensitizing the public about what is going on.
Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Bitabinji, UBC News.
Now, traders in Kampala and some urban centers across the country closed business to protest Eura's threshold of annual turnover of 150 million Ugandan shillings for IFRIS enrollment. Our reporter Dennis Sigoa sought for an expert view on the standoff between the taxman and the business community.
This was Kampala's central business district as traders heeded to the call by Kampala Capital City Traders Association, Kasita, to close business premises until their concerns are addressed. An economist, Professor Fred Muhumuza, sheds light on the situation.
This engagement really is the traders having an issue with government. And quite often you want to escalate issues if you think the other measures have not been exhausted. This is something that has been in the public space, and we have had it coming. We've had their issues. URA has explained itself. The traders have not found that explanation satisfactory. So I think they're escalating this to the next level, and I know that government will come through. But really the main point that people know out there is the issuing of IFRIS.
The standoff, the second in as many weeks, is raising pertinent questions. According to Muhumuza, the business community, who are yet to subscribe to the electronic fiscal receipting and invoicing solution, IFRIS, are afraid of the implications of enrollment.
Those who have not been on IFRIS are looking at it as an infringement. What does URA want to do with the data? Why can't? But also there's the cost of complying. If you have not been using data, now you need full-time data because this is a real-time system. Every time you issue a receipt, you have to interact with the system of URA. And the data cost is an additional cost to them. The gadget may not be that much of an expense because per saying cost is little, but the data cost for people with high volumes of transactions, that can become an issue to deal with. But even others, as we've said, they have seen in the past, the moment you get onto IFRIS, and IFRIS uncovers your past history. You've been telling URA, I sell 2 million a day. Now IFRIS declares you're actually selling 7, so which means you've got to pay more taxes than you have been paying. But quite often URA at times goes in the past to say, now that you've been under declaring, we are going to check your history as well, what they call the historical audit. Now that historical audit, very many people have found challenges with it. It brings up tax obligations you should have paid which you didn't pay, but they really enter into your cash flow.
With no amicable solution yet, with an aggressive revenue body determined to collect significant revenue to finance government operations, the question is, what next?
So I am very hopeful that the meetings that have taken place in government today, the follow-up meetings that would happen even before the president, hopefully even the president won't be necessary, they will resolve it. But we are saying in future, how do we go about some of this? Because listening to the other party to say, now I want this, because you have the law, you need it, and for a good cause. Yeah. We need the revenues collected. We need the businesses understood. But what is the cost of compliance on the business? Yeah. Economics, we sometimes call that transactional costs. That cost of data, the buying the print and the paper to print, and that time of handling one customer now taking 3 minutes instead of half a minute. For busy places like Chikubo, you really don't even have that time. The internet can be off, so you have to wait. Do I issue? Do I not issue? But also the difference between an invoice and cash. I know the people who supply government, there has been that modification. That for them, when they issue an invoice, they are not required to pay tax until they have been paid. Because sometimes government knows I delay to pay them. So don't penalize them. Now we are saying the way government delays to pay those who supply it is the same way other people face delays. So how do we roll out that good practice to the other private individuals? So an invoice and a receipt are two separate things. So can we find ways of always discussing the detailed implementation issues before they escalate to this level? And I think that's the way to go.
Dennis Igoa for UBC News in Kampala.
Thanks, Dennis, for that story there. And let's move a little bit out of Kampala and we go to Iganga. And of course, it is the same story from that area of the country where the business community in Iganga joined the Kampala Capital City Traders Association counterparts in the ongoing tax hike strike. Now, most shops in Iganga municipality remained closed starting early Tuesday morning. Take a watch.
Our cry, as I told you before, that these manufacturers should remain to their factories. For us, the consumers, we get the products, then we sell to the last consumers. Then for the issue of the influence, as I told you that it's not well sensitized about the local people, it's so expensive because people working using influence, when you're using influence, it means that you need to get internet, full internet, to serve your clients. In case you don't have influence and you have sales of 450 and above, and they get a wholesaler or a last consumer with goods without a receipt, they bring that last consumer to your shop. In case you don't have that receipt or you have the machine and you refuse to give out the receipt, you'll be charged 5 million shillings. Or in case you have sales of 450 and above and you fail to attain that machine, you'll be liable to a fine of 50 million shillings or be jailed for 10 years.
Batola ku piece endala 2,000 oje busi ya piece endala bagenda nusu kanana oyikiriza wasasula kabiri bakugemera mu mabira buli duka balienda ku sente
n'amala omwezi ayekendeza emisolo nga tekendezisa misolo tuzira kutinda kusobola kubaawo ku musolo gwa gavumenti eno buli kimu batwiganya gulandire kola paterenti buli muntu buli kintu n'ebikaba oli kukiwulira onego tunamala omwezi muloko dawu ntitwalya
tuli mu kwekalakasa omuchina asigale mu kampuni tukoyo sala ebintu buli dakiika atenge ebintu omusolo guli waggulu yo omuchina asala ebintu buli dakiika bafuula ebintu nti babikolera wano naye ebintu bya bbeeyi. President Museveni URA gigambe ereka abasuubuzi tukole
abasanda bano baveeyo bayogere ensonga enambulukufu olw'ensonga nti omusolo gwe bali tutaku mungi tutuli kufunamu aye ng'ate okusinga eno abakyala bali kusinga kufuna mu kintu kino tukole tutya ekintu kino okukimalawo n'ekyokubiri abakyala tukwendabereyo mu makolero abantu batambuza emirimu gyabwe bulungi olw'omusolo guno omungi awo nga ife abasuubuzi mu Iganga municipality ntono ino yatulamu mativu ku misolo gya gavumenti era yalukanika emisolo nga bweyenda ezaketwiriza amagira amafu amadwaliro omuza amadagala twaba n'omumativu twasalawo twigale olwaleero nga bakamba ife abakolera abasuubuzi bwe basazeewo tuleme kukola lwaleero bayiribiba oluguudo luno tukoye ebintu byekanaime ebintu birigulika abakasoma babuze abakyena batumazeeko emirembe tusazeewo twigalewo leero embere terere.
Traders in Iganga, they are having their say in as far as the IFRIS tax system is concerned, and of course expressing their anger there. Now, the Vice President of the Republic of Uganda, Her Excellency Jessica Alupo, has commended President Yoweri Museveni for being an expert in diagnosing the problems of Ugandans and offering solutions to them. VP Alupo made the remarks while officiating the graduation ceremony of Teso Sub-Region Industrial Zonal Hub in Soroti City. The Vice President also thanked President Museveni for spearheading the Industrial Hub initiative that has enabled the skilling of the youth in order to fight unemployment. She also thanked the State House Comptroller, Ms. Jane Barechi, for being a ground-oriented person who is always in the field to ensure State House projects like the industrial hubs are a success.
133 students, of which 111 were boys and 122 were girls. And they all completed and they are ready to be given their certificates.
Changed, and therefore there is no criminal in the cities of their origin because of these skills. And that objective, Your Excellency, is already achieved. Your Excellency, Another objective was import substitution. What do I mean? We used to import furniture from wherever other countries are to bring them to Uganda. But as of now, what you saw from the welding and carpentry, the furniture they have made is very enough to stop the country from importing furniture. And therefore that objective of import substitution is already achieved by the hub.
I want to start by bringing you warm greetings from His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and Mama, the Minister of Education and Sports, and the First Lady of Uganda. They have sent you their warm greetings. And they associate themselves with this ceremony. Secondly, allow me also to thank Madam Jane Bareke, the State House Controller, for inviting me to officiate over this ceremony. I thank her very sincerely. Secondly, I want to thank her for being a ground-oriented State House Controller. You are always in the field. Thank you for that correct mindset of knowing that you should always step out of the office to check on what your team is doing on the ground. I normally appreciate you whenever I see you in the field. I believe, according to the objectives which the State House Controller has just articulated, is a reason why the NRM government introduced universal primary education, universal secondary education, universal post-O-level education and training, and relatively, it is the same reason, relatedly, it is the same reason why government liberalized education to enable the private sector to participate in human resource development. Recently, as you may wish to note, the government of Uganda overhauled the lower secondary education curriculum to achieve the correct skills objective and a career path for learners at an early stage. For the case of today's ceremony, the government has established 19 presidential industrial hubs across the country, and I would like you to appreciate His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni for spearheading this particular initiative. Amongst the so many initiatives that he has spearheaded before for the well-being of the people of Uganda. I invite you to give His Excellency the President a thunderous hand clap. Having gone through the workshops this morning and the training areas, and having seen the products, I hasten to add that His Excellency the President is an expert in diagnosing problems that affect the people, but also is always quick to provide a solution to those problems, making all of us, the people of Uganda, very lucky to have him.
Fred!
Osmosis.
Freddy! Fred Dollar, my boss, CEO Inojo, the general of generals, the conqueror of conquerors, the first and the final, the sky above the skies, the promised land, the terms and the conditions, the international king crocodile, the source of the Nile.
Ero sina sente.
Mpole mitwala, bili njera kujuza okaduka kange. The signs and symptoms of success, the bank commander, not the bank teller.
Lwaki okalubizibwa okufuna loan ng'olina MTN Momo weesootinge kozesa Momo app omanyika *555# okufuna looni ey'amangu londako looni ekukolera okuva mu looni ez'ebika eby'enjawulo eziva mu bannaffe be tukolagana nabo nga tuli wamu tewali kitulema.
Gavumenti ya Uganda wamu n'ekitongole kyayo ekivunaanyizibwa ku bibalo ki Uganda Bureau of Statistics UBOS bategeeza abantu bonna abakwatibwako okuli abakulira abakozi ba gavumenti ku district, bameeya, ababaka ba president, bakalaani, bakansala, basentebe b'ebyalo, abatuuze n'abasuubuzi bonna okukwatagana n'abakozi ba UBOS abatandisedde okweteekerateekera omulimu gw'okubala abantu n'ebyabwe okw'okubaawo ng'ennaku z'omwezi 10 omwezi ogwokutaano 2024 okubala abantu kwakumala ennaku 10 n'ekigendererwa ekyokumanya omuwendo n'ebifo ku tuli bameka, tuliwa, tubeera tutya, tulina ki era wa gye tujja obuweereza. Uganda Bureau of Statistics etandise okuwandiisa amaka mu bibuga 11 okuli Arua, Fort Portal, Gulu, Hoima, Jinja, Lira, Masaka, Mbarara, Soroti ne disitulikiti okuli Kampala, Wakiso ne Mukono. Okumanya ebisingawo kuba ku namba z'essimu nooti 754-24-21-28 oba nooti 773-34-21-28. Obubaka buno bukutuusibwako akulira Uganda Bureau of Statistics era avunaanyizibwa ku kubala abantu. Kya mugaso okubalibwa. Census 2024, it matters to be counted.
Juko. Yo. Wachikuwa. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a poultry project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Welcome back from that break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. A warm welcome to those of you just joining us. Now, President Yoweri Museveni has told world leaders that there is a need to get rid of the exploitative phenomena of commercial lending to achieve global affluence. Now, this was contained in the President's message at the ongoing United Nations General Assembly high-level thematic debate on sustainability and socio-economic equality for all at the UN headquarters in New York. The Prime Minister of Uganda, Right Honourable Nabanja Robina, delivered the President's message at the forum.
The President says that commercial lending should be for goods of frivolity such as spirits and perfumes, for infrastructure, manufacturing, and for some of the services such as tourism. The borrowing must be concessional, low interest, and taking long to be paid back.
Affluence was only in Western Europe, North America, that is USA and Canada, and Japan. The rest of the world was in poverty. The huge country of China was number 8 in the hierarchy of development. This scenario of having a small aristocracy of rich societies accounting for only 30% of the human population at that time, was being regarded by those that had no eyes.
Museveni says that the pseudo-economists are parasites that favor the shameful, narrow-based growth of the world economy. Uganda is working for broad-based social economic transformation.
This will be good for the consumers and producers of wealth. In order to achieve global affluence, we must get rid of exploitive phenomenon of commercial lending.
Uganda's permanent representative to the United Nations in New York, Ambassador Adonia Yebare, reiterated Uganda's commitment as the chair of the G77 plus China and the non-aligned movement NAM to cooperate with the United Nations in achieving the set targets of the Sustainable Development Goals. Ayebare says that the G77 plus China calls for urgent action on debt sustainability for development and calls for reforms in financial architecture.
The debt challenges of developing countries remain elevated, with external debt reaching a record level of 11.4 trillion in 2022, and an increase of 1.9%. This state of affairs has resulted in debt service burdens, including the high debt service costs that crowd out vital investments and constrain progress.
The President of the United Nations General Assembly, Dennis Francis, says that there must be a paradigm shift from rhetoric to action if sustainable development goals are to be achieved.
With other critical dimensions of the Assembly's work, including sustainable development. As you know, the thrust of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development is the better advantage to be enjoyed by society as a whole from transitioning to a more sustainable, more resilient, more equitable and stable world.
Achieving debt sustainability and socio-economic equity necessitates a well-coordinated multilateral effort to reshape and reform the international financial architecture, especially the international financial institutions, so that they can better support and facilitate sustainable development in the world. The week-long high-level thematic debate offers an opportunity to identify the challenges on the pursuit of debt sustainability and shine a spotlight on the implications of the current debt crisis on developing nations, with a view of accelerating national and international action to achieve socio-economic equality for all.
Of Parliament have tasked the Uganda National Bureau of Statistics on accuracy ahead of the National Population and Housing Census slated for next month. The MPs raised concerns on disputed border areas, hard-to-reach areas with limited network and double counting. They raised the concerns as Uganda National Bureau of Statistics engaged the MPs on how best they can participate in the exercise.
With 3 weeks to the national population and housing exercise, there are still concerns that need to be rectified for accuracy of data. While meeting the UBOS officials in Kampala, the MPs urged the body to ensure accuracy of data collected for better planning.
Population is the basis on which government plans. It's very, very critical. And we're going to look at wealth. So the question is, can you give us assurance that your team will work with outermost integrity to provide believable, accurate data for the country?
Most of the time, the data you generate has a lot of gaps. And it is usually doubted by the local people. Like there was a recent census of birds. The number which was given is highly doubted. So how are you going to fill those gaps?
The MPs on Committee of the National Economy and the ICT raised concerns over UBOS's preparedness to handle disputed border areas, hard-to-reach areas, and places with limited network and double counting.
As I talk now, we have some villages that are being claimed by government of South Sudan. And that matter came on floor of Parliament. but still up to now, government has not given a concrete solution about it. But at the same time, we have an island called Migingo Island in Lake Victoria, where two countries have done a deployment.
There are areas without network. In my constituency, I don't have any network. How are you going to use tabs in those areas? Because you would have worked together with telecommunication companies even to do their work.
The executive director, UBOS, clarified that UBOS has taken note of their concerns and instead urged the MPs to mobilize their constituencies to participate in the census.
We have been reviewed by peers, and they think we are doing very well. In Africa, actually, we are the best. They all come here, even South Africa, they come here for benchmarking. Now, in this census, that's why we are telling you MPs to go and talk to your constituencies, your sons, daughters, sisters, brothers, mothers, to give us honest responses.
The national population and housing exercise is undertaken after every 10 years, and this year's census is slated for next month. Philip Aguta for UBC News in Kampala.
Thanks, Philip, for that story there, and let's all be counted. Uganda Bankers Association has asked Parliament not to consider the amendment of charging value-added tax on the proceeds of the collateral that has been auctioned. While appearing before the Finance Committee, the Executive Director, Uganda Bankers Association, Wilbrod Awor, said this will lead to an additional 18% VAT on the proceeds and also make recovery much more difficult. Farida Nafka reports.
Officials from Uganda Bankers Association, led by the Executive Director, Wilbrod Awor, have appeared before the Finance Committee of Parliament to give their input in the amendments of the tax bills and rates. In the tax amendments bills, they are also introducing a withholding tax of 10% on the commission paid by bank agents. However, Executive Director, Uganda Bankers Association, Wilbrod Awor, argues that agent is an extension of the bank and there are already excise duty charges.
Have a specific role of intermediation. Yes. And that's why they are licensed, there are conditions they are given. They collect deposits, they are not playing. You may be a payment service provider, but you are not playing the intermediation. That's why licenses are different and categorized. Indeed, they want those level grounds. Let them apply and get a banking license so the level is clear. Simple. The roles are fundamentally different.
Members of Parliament say that other players in the industry of mobile banking say that the level is not leveled.
The document is basically for harmonization of electronic payment systems, so that you don't find this one is more expensive than the other.
That's why we
the banking agents, there is an element of double taxation from one you're talking about, that they are already taxed. Then it makes sense. Then you need to make a proposal that is balanced to say, okay.
Doing almost the same thing as MTN agents, Airtel agents. And when it comes to MTN and Airtel agents, when they are paid commission, they are being charged the 10% withholding tax. So this 10% is on the commission that is earned by the agent for the work that they are doing on behalf of the bank. It is to level because MTN, Airtel, they're being regulated by BOU as well.
Under the Value-Added Tax Amendment Bill 2024, they want to introduce charges on the proceeds from the supply of goods through auction by an auctioneer, and to the banks, it is the sale of collateral presented for a loan, which proceeds go to the bank and VAT paid by the bank. Bank officials explain that collateral is a fallback realization in case the customer fails to pay the loan, and this VAT will just make recovery harder.
Is it an issue? When banks are auctioning goods, these are assets most of the time that have been mortgaged, used as collateral for collecting, for debt. So if I fail to pay as an individual, the bank is selling an asset so that they can collect money that is due to them. When you look at the definition of financial services under the VAT Act, all that is part of dealing with loans and ideally should be seen as a supply of a financial service or pattern. is to exclude those foreclosure assets, as the banks normally refer to them. So those would be the assets that they sell through the process of recovering debt. So once you exclude that, then it means whatever else is not that, then should be captured.
Okay.
Members of Parliament had mixed reactions on this amendment.
Number 3, the owner of this property. If you are selling, include VAT, it becomes his what?
Amount of money that I took from you was 100. So if they charge on the 300 that you have gained as interest, is that a bad deal?
While officials from URA emphasized that no one will require banks to pay VAT on a foreclosure.
Services means granting, negotiating, and dealing with loans, credit guarantees, and any security for money.
Okay.
So if you're foreclosing, you're basically doing it for some security for money. So it's a financial service, and it's exempt under second schedule. I don't think anyone will require you to account for VAT on a foreclosure.
So
this amendment of the 5% tax on non-business assets attracted debate from financial stakeholders, asking URA to define it.
Have it, let us harmonize it across all assets, whether held by a company or a partnership or an individual, the taxation regime should be the same.
It means you are creating a third regime, which is non-business asset, which is neither rental nor business. In other words, you are changing the whole principle of income taxation to stamp duty.
The way this has currently been phrased, it's subject to abuse, and also we may have challenges in collecting the tax because people will most likely abuse it.
Being sold by an individual or a real estate, it would be taxed under business income. So when we look at the sale, it would go without tax. So the 5% I think is a fair one on the sale of the actual property. Because then
Members of Parliament say that the discussion with different stakeholders is to come out with clear tax bills. I'm Navka Farida and Gloria Gwitabinji.
We'll take yet another short break and return with business.
Ebiseera by'okuzaayo abaana mu masomero tebiteekwa kukaluubiriza n'akatono. Eno kusimba nnyiriri mpanvu kano kalipagano ka bidduka. Simanya kuzunga na banka siripusi. Kati osobola okusasula school fees z'omwana wo ate n'okola n'ebirala ntoko ku ssimu ye ey'omu ngalo. Ekikola kyangu nnyo. Nyiga bunyizi *185*8 ogoberera ebikulagiriddwa oba okozese app ya MTN Momo. Ate kati okola ki olwaleero? MTN Mobile Money Uganda Limited erunganisibwa banka enkulu ya Uganda.
The government of Uganda and the Uganda Bureau of Statistics is calling upon all stakeholders such as the chief administrative officers, city mayors, resident city commissioners, city clerks, city and division councillors, wards and LC chairpersons, as well as the residents and business communities to cooperate with the UBOS field teams as we embark on advanced preparations to conduct the National Population and Housing Census on the 10th of May 2024. The census will be a 10-day exercise to obtain statistical data and information that will be used for planning and policy formulation, including information on 1. How many we are, 2. Where we are, 3. How we are living, 4. What we own, and 5. Where we access services from. The Uganda Bureau of Statistics has now started listing of households and mapping in the 11 cities of Arua, Fort Portal, Gulu, Hoima, Jinja, Lira, Mbale, Masaka, Mbarara, Soroti, and in the Greater Kampala comprising of Kampala, Wakiso, and Mukono districts. For more information, please call 0755 342 128 or 0773 342 128. This message is brought to you by the Executive Director and Census Commissioner, Uganda Bureau of Statistics. Census 2024. It matters to be counted.
After the
massive launch of the Museveni Awoma hit song in Kololo, Mukono, Nabweru Wakiso District and Masulita War Zone. Munamasa Kansereko Emma takes Museveni Awoma to Mityana on Friday, the 26th of April 2024 at Mityana Saza Ground. We shall start with Bulungi Wansi, a health camp, and then a boom of entertainment with thousands of comedians and artists, all at a free entry. Anti-Jaja Gabude, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, will be our chief guest. Come, let's have fun with Jaja. Don't miss.
Welcome back from that break. Let's have a look now at what's happening in the latest in as far as business is concerned. Uganda Development Bank has rolled out a training for 291 businesses from across the country. The initiative under the bank's Enterprise Development Program is designed to prepare enterprises to become investor-ready and thrive in the competitive market. UDB is partnering with Makerere University Business School and Uganda Management Institute to implement the incubator program.
The incubator program provides capacity building, training, and technical support to develop and implement the required processes in the businesses. 291 incubates from various corners of Uganda have been carefully selected to tap into the training opportunities offered by the three partner entities.
We are passionate about supporting the SMEs because we believe they will provide the solution to sustainable development of this country. They create jobs, they contribute to tax revenue in this country, they account for over 90% of all manufacturing output, so they are critical.
Small and medium enterprises constitute 90% of the Uganda's private sector and contribute 80% of all manufacturing output, providing 2.5 million jobs. However, only 30% of them survive beyond their third year of operations. This is a stark reminder of the obstacles that stand in the way of our entrepreneurs and their dreams.
There we believe that every SME that goes through our hands will be able to grow their businesses, will be able to sustain their businesses, will be able to solve management challenges in their businesses, and we shall support you to undertake research, we shall support you through consultancies to ensure that your businesses grow beyond the 3 years which we see the businesses die.
It is in our interest that we teach them to be resilient, we give them capacity to write proposals, we give them capacity to know how to account for the operations, to keep elementary books of accounts so that they know they are making profits or they are not making profits. And for them to know that profits and success will come to those who are patient.
The program will offer training with a customized curriculum based on the feedback and findings from the first cohort of 500. To be implemented 3 to 9 months, the hybrid program will not only provide in-class training, but will also handhold businesses as they embark on a journey of transformation.
As we are well aware, SMEs are the backbone of this country, the backbone of this economy. But they are constrained by various factors in terms of their sustainability.
Lorena Gaba, UBC News.
Uganda's business community is set to strengthen its connections and seize new opportunities as Business Network International Uganda hosts the BNI Expo.
The Expo, which will take place from 31st May to 1st June, is a catalyst for the growth and innovation, aligning with this year's theme, connecting businesses, creating opportunities.
We create an ecosystem where a business owner is able to thrive alongside other business owners.
The BNI Uganda National Director Diana Nisima says lack of networking and mentorship opportunities is a challenge many Ugandan entrepreneurs grapple with.
So there is mentorship that happens for businesses which are in BNI. You find a 20-year-old business seated alongside a 2-year-old business.
So the lessons that that business owner with over 20 years of business experience is able to share go a long way. And that's what we want to offer to the public.
Uganda is one of the most entrepreneurial countries in the world, but more than half of those businesses do not see their first birthday, and many of the problems they face are issues of compliance or even just regulatory.
The expo has activities including target networking sessions, expertise workshops, and diverse exhibitions showcasing the latest trends and services across multiple industries in Uganda.
So when such initiatives come up and they're saying they're going to get clinics to train our business people to ensure that we keep our businesses afloat, is such a good idea that people should welcome and be a part of.
Attendees will also benefit from insightful discussions that prepare them for the full experience of the expo.
We will be participating in the webinar on Thursday, where we will be discussing how businesses can improve their chances of qualifying for loans and for credit. For us, it's a fantastic opportunity to be again associated with the very first ever BNI Expo.
Nahoho Rashid Matselele, UBC TV.
And moving further afield, as President Joe Biden hosted Iraq's Prime Minister on Monday, all eyes were on Iran, which over the weekend made a historic first strike on Israel. Now, that attack has inflamed concerns of a wider regional war, something the two leaders focused on during their Oval Office meeting.
Major concern in the region.
We are actually very eager about stopping this war, which claimed the lives of thousands of civilians, women, and children. And we encourage all the efforts about stopping the expansion of the area of conflict.
The two nations have a delicate relationship after decades of U.S. military involvement in Iraq. U.S. anti-aircraft assets in northern Iraq were used to shoot down some of the Iranian missiles. Biden said Iraq, a longtime adversary of Iran, has a role to play in maintaining peace.
Sports news now, and Uganda is celebrating a major sports milestone, which is the World Athletics certification of the Tusker Light Mount Rwenzori Marathon. This Tusker Light Mount Rwenzori Marathon is hosted in Kasese and espouses sports tourism. John Bansentamo gives us more.
After just 2 years in existence, the Tusker Light Mount Rwenzori Marathon has registered a major milestone of getting World Athletics certification. This certification, which is the first in Uganda and only the fourth in Africa, means that Uganda has a marathon that can qualify athletes to global contests like the Olympics.
But also it's about sports tourism. We've been running, personally I've been running for many years, right? You go to other countries, they ask you, what race do you have in your country? You can't say anything, because once you say this race, you have to go online and then check. So we are glad to see that for the first time in Uganda, we have qualified and measured routes.
The occasion to announce this milestone at Sheraton Hotel Kampala was graced by the State Minister for National Guidance, Godfrey Kabyanga.
This marathon is recognized internationally, and you have heard that once we have that certification, it implies people can use it to qualify for the Olympics, which implies we are going to attract so many international athletes who are gearing to qualify for the Olympics. But it also means a lot of publicity for Kasese as a region, for Rwenzori as a region, and it also means more tourists coming to Rwenzori and more money coming in from tourism.
More than 800 runners from 4 countries took part in the first edition, while last year's event had more than 2,000 runners from 17 countries at this Uganda Breweries Limited sponsored marathon.
This recognition affirms our dedication to ensuring the Tusker Light Mount Rwenzori Marathon meets the highest international standards. This is a milestone that not only signifies our commitment to excellence, but also opens new doors for the events on a global stage. We are honored to join a select group of globally certified racecourses, making this a pivotal moment in the journey of the Tusker Light Mount Rwenzori Marathon. And I'm sure the organizers are very proud that we are now joining South Africa, Tanzania, Rwanda, and now Uganda at the Mount Rwenzori is on the map.
This year's edition is scheduled for 24th August and is organized to coincide with the Rwenzori Feruji Festival, which is a hallmark that displays the tourism potential of the region.
Almost every month, Kasese people are cleaning the streets. They're so excited. This time we went and a group of bodabodas were just hugging me. And they're saying, I hope the marathon is coming back. It's the best time for us to make the best money, you know? The owners of hotels are excited. The women selling things are excited. Everybody is excited. And Makerere University did research, we also thank them. And they only interviewed 30% of the population that came to run. And the spend by 30% was 3.5 billion shillings. So multiply that by 3. Over 10 billion was left in Kasese in just 2 days.
The marathon is run over 5, 10, 21 and the main marathon, which is 42 kilometers.
John Bansentam reporting there, and that story brings us to the end of this edition of News Tonight. Thank you so much for having kept us company. On sign language, it was Elizabeth Nakakuni, and I am Rukidi Edward Kijanangoma. But we'll leave you with the weather forecast for tomorrow with Ainebiona Jasper at the Weather Center.
Once again, we update you with our daily weather forecast from the Ghana National Meteorological Authority. I'm Jasper Ainebiona. Rains are still continuing over most parts of the country, and these are due to the ridge over the South Africa that is pushing the most winds towards our country, leaving other factors constant like Lake Victoria Basin that is also influencing our weather system. And therefore, tomorrow morning, we wake up with light rains across Kampala, Masaka, and the rest partly cloudy conditions will be expected. For the western parts of the country, we are anticipating partly cloudy conditions apart from Kasese, where sunny intervals will be expected, and also in Kampala, sunny intervals will be expected. For the eastern part of the country, partly cloudy conditions will be expected the entire region. And northern parts of the country, we are forecasting sunny intervals together with a mixture of partly cloudy conditions. Later in the afternoon, we shall see the central region with a high of 27 degrees Celsius, light rains, and also Masaka light rains will be expected with a high of 28 degrees Celsius, and for Nakasongola, light thunder rains will be expected with a high of 28 degrees Celsius. For Kasese, still in the afternoon, we are forecasting light rains with a high of 28 degrees Celsius, and in Barra, light thunder rains will be expected with a high of 25 degrees Celsius, while Kigezi Highland, light rains will be expected with a high of 23 degrees Celsius. Eastern stretch, we are forecasting light rains with a high of 29 degrees Celsius. Across Jinja and Toro, 29 degrees Celsius, light thunder rains will be expected. For the northern stretch, we are forecasting Lila to have light thunder rains with a high of 29 degrees Celsius, and the rest light rains will be expected, and temperatures will be around 29 to 30 degrees Celsius. Across the globe, we are anticipating sunny intervals around Nairobi with a high of 27 degrees Celsius, and London, light rains will be expected with a high of 12 degrees Celsius, while Dubai, partly cloudy conditions with a high of 28 degrees Celsius. Thank you so much. You can always watch our daily weather forecast from the YouTube and also on our website. Good evening.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Good tax policies strike a balance between generating revenue for public services, promoting economic growth, and ensuring fairness in the distribution of the tax burden. To ensure good tax policies, the government, through the Line Ministry, pays attention to fiscal sustainability, promoting research and development to allow innovation, simplicity, and transparency to help the citizens understand their obligations, efficiency in tax administration, and progressive taxation to balance the tax burden among the population. This week on your favorite program, Behind the Headlines, with your host Timothy Nyangweso and a team of distinguished panelists with deep knowledge on taxation and policy will share their thoughts on taxation at 10 p.m. Be part of the